it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today is going to be an alternative to doing some die cut inlay work, and I wanted to show you how I go about that, and this is kind of my cheats way of doing it. Now, I do have these textures here by Lou Collins. This is the Mariposa collection, and I've had these for quite some time. I think they are still available. You can purchase them from Craftstash. They have a US site and a UK site as well. But anyhow, this is some of the collection. Some of these coordinate with others. I don't think this is the whole collection. These ones just caught my eye, and so yeah, I am going to be playing with these a little bit, and I just really like the text and the butterflies. These are things that I can put together and use kind of throughout lots of my card making, so this is right up my alley. But I will say that this paper pad here this is right up my alley. There are 24 sheets. These are quite thick paper. They are a really good quality. There are 6 different sheets and 4 of each design. So that means that you have plenty of space for using multiple sheets of this, and you're not going to feel like you are going to use up the only sheet with that design. This big blue butterfly is stunning. And then the 3 butterflies on the text background, and then just even the dictionary background. I mean, this is my kind of thing. But anyhow, I am going to have to work really hard to fight against my hoarding want for this paper pad here. I have thumbed through this so many times and looked at it, and I am struggling to think about cutting into it, but I'm going to do it. I will. Now, this is the one that I'm going to be working with today. Now, this butterfly die here is a little bit misleading because the size of this is actually huge. Now, here's the size of my whole hand, and this, maybe it's meant for slimline dies. I'm not sure, but I don't really make slimline dies. Today, I'm going with my usual A2 standard size cards. This is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. And all I'm going to do is focus on the part that I want to feature. So I'm kind of lining this up on my card where I want it to go. I'm using a little bit of low tack tape, and this is what I'm going to do. I don't want this to die cut. I only want to get an impression. So I use a Big Shot. I have that big thick cutting pad down the bottom, then my normal cutting pad, then I put the embossing squishy layer and that one, and then just my normal cutting pad on top. I'm going to run this through. I just need to run it through one time. One time is absolutely fine. And as I said, all we are aiming for is an impression. I don't want this to cut, and that squishy embossing pad is the layer that is going to stop it from cutting. Now, this gives a beautiful deep impression on the background. You can do this with any dies, absolutely any dies that you have. So there are going to be millions, I'm sure, in your collection that you are able to use for this. Of course, I did die cut out one of the butterflies as well, just the regular way like you usually would. And then I have some of my Spectrum Noir alcohol markers. These ones are the 3-in-1 barrel. This is my kind of style because this is my kind of alcohol marker coloring. And here I've got this pretty close up so that you can see the detail. There are 3 different shades here, so a light, a medium, and a dark. And I am going to do the roughest, quickest coloring that you potentially see on YouTube. This does not have to be perfect. This is the underneath layer, but I am going to do pretty much light to dark, give or take. But all I have to do is I can be as messy as I want to be. I just need to stay within that outside line because we are going to pop on the other butterflies over top, and this will make our coloring look perfect. Now, I am also going to color the outline of the butterflies, the die cut that we created. So here's the matching one, and I'm just going to use the exact same blue pen. So you can see here I went from light to dark, and this time I'm going to go from dark to light. So dark will be down the body of the butterfly, the center of the butterfly, and then I will kind of head out to light. So I'm only using one pen, and I'm still getting all the shading, I'm still getting all the variation in color, but it just makes life easier for me. Now, this is super, super quick. I have a piece of scrap paper behind this, so I really don't have to be careful. Of course, I have sped this video up because it's just coloring in. Now, of course, an even quicker way to do this would be using finger daubers and some ink, some oxide inks or some regular distress inks or some Simon Hurley ink, some Catherine Paula ink, some Gina K inks, something like that. And you could just be able to get this done in an absolute heartbeat. I don't really know why I chose alcohol markers. I think they were on my desk from a previous project and I thought, okay, I'll just go with that. That sometimes takes away some of the decision making for me is what's on my desk, this is what I'll be using. And it just means I don't have to put them away right then, or I don't have to get out anything new. So that is honestly as simple as some of my decision making is. And for this card in particular, I have gone with a blues, a yellows and purples. Now, no reason in particular. The yellows, of course, have that little bit of orange in the center just to kind of kick it right off. I didn't choose these colors for anything in particular. You can do this, as I said, with so many different dyes that you have. Anything that has kind of holes in the middle or has something that you can see through, essentially, then you are going to be able to do this technique where you put the impression on the cardstock, then color behind it, and then pop the actual dye on top. And that way, we don't have to do any die cut inlay, because these butterflies would be, in my personal opinion, a nightmare to try and do die cut inlay with. All those tiny pieces, that's something that I would avoid. I'm sure you could take this on if you had endless time, but who has that these days? And I just feel like this is my cheats version of having to do die cut inlay, but I still kind of get the look. So I really like that. Now I am using some liquid glue here. This is the Ranger Multi-Medium in the matte finish, and I have got my little sponge, my little makeup sponge that I cut up into tiny little pieces so I can reuse it over and over again, and then I can wash the glue out, and these things last me forever. Then I pop this down on top of my colored butterflies, and I am loving this. There is instant color, instant different layers there. There is just a gradation of color. It's just bright. I really like this look. It was really easy. It didn't take me long at all. It would have been even quicker if I had just used ink daubers or ink blending tools rather than the alcohol markers, but I like the look of this. So as you can see, the actual die is far longer than I need, so I only colored in the pieces that I would need, and I am going to cut this off either end. Now, you know me, I like to do a couple of finishing touches when it comes to the cards. You could absolutely just pop this down on your card, pop a sentiment across the middle, and you could be well done, and this would be stunning, and it is stunning. Of course, I'm going to do a couple of little things just to take this to the next level. One of those things is I am going to cut down one of the sides. Now, you could definitely just cut in close to the butterflies if you wanted to have them kind of popped up or floating. I wanted to end up having some lace down one side just to make this a pretty feminine card, in my opinion. So I have cut off a little bit from each side, and you can see you could either center this on the left hand side of your card or the right hand side of your card. One or the other is going to work just fine, but it just gives me a little bit of a chance to put in some edging and create some more interest on this card as well. So any side would work. Here I was deciding which way I wanted to go, but I honestly think that I like it more to the left, centered to the left. So here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm taking some double-sided tape. I like the scrapbook.com one because it's super strong, but I can also still tear it. And then I have this little bit of actual lace here, and this is just like a lace trim. If you didn't have that, then this Lacy Edges die from Pink Fresh Studios, that would be perfect as well. I like the idea of incorporating other textures and things that I have already in my stash, and so it's quite nice to be able to use these little bits and pieces and just create another texture with some fabric and things on the card. But as I said, if you have the dies, then they are going to work just as well. So I love that gorgeous little extra edge there. I know it's little and it's, you know, not too much because it's white on white, but I like it. Then I'm actually going to put 2 foam tape strips down the left hand side here at the moment. These will of course be on the right hand side as we flip the card, but at the moment they're on the left. And then I'm going to add liquid glue to the rest of the page. Now this means that my little lacy edge will be popped up just a little bit, so it comes off the edge a little, whereas the other side of the card is going to sit nice and flush, and I like it this way. It is nice and easy, and it makes the lace stand out just a little bit more. Now this is the black and white sentiments from Paper Rose. Old favourites here. If you are that kind of person who you don't always love stamping out a sentiment every single time because it takes a minute to get out your ink pad, stamp it up, and then sometimes you want to heat emboss it to dry it, cut it out, these ones are my go-to. I wasn't sure that I would be that type of person who would love these, but I do. I really, really do. And I have some more on the way as well. Now I'm just going to pop this one very, very clean and nice and simple up there. This says, "So proud of you." I already have a destination or a recipient in mind for this card, so I'm making this for someone in particular. I'm going to add some of these clear droplets. These are my go-to. I'm not sure if I pointed it out before, but you can also use your alcohol markers to color over these, and they become kind of, you know, semi-transparent but colored little gems. So these weigh nothing at all. I love that for when I'm popping these through the post. They don't have too much dimension to them, and they are so handy because there are so many. I think there are 5 or so different sizes in this little container, and they are lasting me forever. But I absolutely love them. They just add that finishing little touch. Something else that I'm going to do as well is add some of the scrapbook.com clear glitter brush. Now there are several different brands of this one. Any is going to be fine, and this I love because once this dries it does not rub off on your fingers, which is important. No one loves glitter everywhere, but this is just going to give a little shine to those butterflies. And now we are done. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my text version of the die cut inlay. And as usual, I have links down below, but other than that, I will see you in the next video. Thanks, bye!